Have you ever stopped to ask yourself why your legs feel weaker, even though you're eating healthy, staying active, and doing all the right things? Why do stairs feel steeper than they used to? Why does it take longer to stand up from a chair, even when you haven't been sitting that long? Most people assume this is just part of aging. And yes, age does play a role. But what if something else is quietly contributing to the problem? Something you've been doing every day without even realizing it. Here's what might surprise you. It's not always what you're failing to do. It could be something you're doing confidently, even proudly, because you believe it's the healthy choice. For most older adults, that habit is eating fruit. You've heard it all your life. Fruit is natural. Fruit is good for you. Fruit is essential for health. And in many cases, that's true. But there's something most people never tell you. Not all fruits are good for people over 60. In fact, some of the most popular fruits you might be eating every week without thinking twice, could be silently making your legs weaker. These fruits, though often praised for their health benefits, may actually trigger knee pain, increase joint inflammation, and make walking more difficult. What was once considered a healthy snack could now be harming your mobility, your balance, and your leg strength. As we age, the body changes. Blood flow isn't as strong. Metabolism slows down. Foods that used to help us may now slowly begin to hurt us instead. And yes, this includes certain fruits. Some of them look perfectly harmless. They taste sweet and refreshing. But they're packed with acids, sugars, and compounds that can spike blood sugar, promote inflammation, and affect circulation, especially in the legs. What makes it worse is how subtle the damage is. You won't notice it right away. It builds up over time. One day, you might feel a dull pain in your calves after walking. Another day, it's unusual tightness in your knees after standing up. And before you know it, stairs feel like a mountain. That's why in this video, we're going to go over 7 specific fruits that people over 60 should avoid if they want to protect their legs from long-term damage, weakness, and pain. These are fruits that most people assume are safe, but once you understand how they affect the aging body, you'll start to look at them very differently. Before we get started, take a moment to subscribe and turn on notifications. We talk about important health topics here that most people don't hear anywhere else. And if you're watching this right now and something about it already feels familiar, type 1 in the comments below. If not, type 0 point either way. Your input matters more than you think. Let's start with the first fruit on our list. It's tropical, juicy, and has long been praised for reducing inflammation. That fruit is pineapple. For years, pineapple has been celebrated for its health benefits, especially because it contains a compound called bromelain, known for its anti-inflammatory effects. But here's the catch. While pineapple may help some people, it could be quietly making things worse for older adults. The truth is, pineapple contains more than just bromelain. It's packed with strong natural acids and high amounts of natural sugars. And for people over 60, those sugars aren't as harmless as they once were. As we age, our blood vessels become more delicate and less responsive. That means when we consume fruits high in sugar, like pineapple, our blood sugar can spike quickly. And that spike has real consequences. When blood sugar rises rapidly, the tiny blood vessels that supply oxygen and nutrients to your legs, feet, and muscles can become damaged over time. As circulation weakens, less oxygen reaches those areas, leading to pain, fatigue, and swelling, even after just a short walk. You might start to notice a dull ache in your calves, or your knees feel stiff when standing up. Maybe your ankles hurt, even though you've barely been on your feet. And that's not all. Pineapple is acidic, not just sweet. Those acids can irritate joints, especially if you already have arthritis or chronic inflammation. It's like pouring fuel on an already burning fire in your hips, knees, and ankles. Some people even report their legs feeling unusually heavy after eating pineapple, as if their strength is gradually slipping away. And if you're on medications, especially blood thinners, this fruit could be even riskier. Bromelain may interfere with how some medications work, either making them too strong or too weak, depending on the interaction. But perhaps the most dangerous thing about pineapple isn't what you feel, it's what you don't. It doesn't usually cause an immediate reaction. There's no sharp pain right after you eat it. The damage is subtle and slow, building quietly over time. You go months, maybe years, without realizing that what you've been eating for your health might be contributing to the very weakness you feel in your legs. That's the truly frustrating part. You think you're doing everything right. You choose fresh fruit instead of processed snacks. You're trying to stay on a healthy path, but without knowing it, that morning smoothie or bowl of pineapple chunks might be working against your body, not helping it. Now, to be clear, this doesn't mean you have to completely eliminate pineapple from your diet. But if you've been struggling with persistent leg pain, stiffness, or swelling, it might be worth cutting back. Try removing it for a while and see if your legs feel different. Because even foods that seem healthy can become problematic when your body changes. And if something as widely praised as pineapple can trigger these kinds of problems, it makes you wonder what other fruits might be doing the same. Let's move on to the next fruit. It's soft, sweet, and often recommended for boosting potassium and muscle recovery. But it might not be helping older adults the way most people think. Let's talk about bananas. Next up is a fruit that almost everyone believes is good for muscle strength, especially for older adults. We're talking about bananas. Bananas are soft, sweet, and high in potassium. They've long been recommended to prevent cramps, provide quick energy, and support muscle function. But here's the reality. While bananas might help some people, the story changes once you're over 60. Bananas are loaded with natural sugars and fast-digesting carbohydrates. That means shortly after eating one, your blood sugar rises rapidly. And in older adults, these frequent spikes start to create problems. When blood sugar goes up too often, your body starts to resist insulin. Over time, this weakens your circulation, increases inflammation, and puts more pressure on your legs and joints. You may start noticing dull soreness when walking. Or maybe climbing stairs feels more tiring than it used to. You might even feel heaviness in your legs after meals, and not know why. But that's not all. Bananas can also contribute to fluid retention, especially if you have any heart-related issues. And that extra fluid can settle in the lower body, leading to puffy ankles, swollen feet, and stiff joints. Again, the effects aren't always immediate. You eat a banana thinking you're doing your muscles a favor, but over time, your legs may feel weaker, not stronger. The body doesn't always give clear signals. But if you're consistently experiencing discomfort in your lower body, especially after meals, it's worth taking a closer look at what fruits are on your plate. You see, bananas don't always trigger an obvious reaction. The changes are slow, but day by day they can chip away at your comfort and mobility. And because bananas have such a strong reputation as a healthy food, they often go unquestioned. People eat them regularly, assuming they're helping their bodies recover, when in fact, they may be quietly contributing to stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. That's what makes them so tricky. If you've been feeling sore or unsteady, and you eat bananas often, it might be time to step back and reconsider. You don't need to avoid them completely, but moderation is key. Because what's helpful for a younger body may no longer be helpful for yours, especially when it comes to blood sugar and circulation. And if something as common as a banana can have this effect, imagine what smaller fruits might be doing without you noticing. Let's take a closer look at our next fruit. It's small, sweet, and easy to snack on, but it might be creating burning, stiffness, and pain in your joints. Let's talk about grapes. Now let's look at a fruit that seems completely harmless. It's small, juicy, and often praised as a heart-healthy snack. But for seniors, it may come with unexpected downsides. We're talking about grapes. Most people view grapes as a guilt-free treat. They're easy to grab by the handful, loaded with antioxidants, and known for supporting cardiovascular health. But here's the part many don't realize. Grapes may also trigger subtle leg and joint issues, especially in older adults. Why? It all comes down to fructose. Grapes contain a high concentration of this natural sugar, which is quickly absorbed by the liver. And when your liver can't fully process that sugar, it turns into fat and uric acid. That's where the trouble starts. When uric acid builds up in the body, it doesn't just go away quietly. It tends to settle in the joints, especially in the toes, ankles, and knees. And that buildup can lead to sharp, burning pain, inflammation, and swelling. If you've ever felt sudden pain in your big toe at night or experienced stiffness in your calves without a clear reason, grapes could be playing a role. This isn't just about gout. It's about how fructose in grapes can silently fuel chronic inflammation in the body. And for seniors, that inflammation hits where circulation is already weakest, like your legs and feet. You might notice that walking becomes more uncomfortable. Your joints feel tighter. Your movements slower. It's not always dramatic, but it's there. And part of the problem is how easy grapes are to overeat. They're small, sweet, and so convenient. You sit down with a bowl, and before you know it, you've eaten 2 or 3 cups. That adds up quickly, especially in terms of sugar. Most people don't stop to think how that sugar affects their joints, but over time, it absolutely can. So while grapes might seem like a healthy snack, they could be quietly reducing flexibility, making your legs feel more fatigued, and increasing discomfort during movement. If you've been eating grapes regularly and noticing stiffness, aching, or swelling in your legs, it might not be a coincidence. That connection is worth considering, because even the healthiest looking fruits can have unexpected effects, especially on an aging body. And if something this small can cause those kinds of changes, it raises a big question. What about the fruits that are even sweeter? The next fruit is one of the most hydrating and refreshing of all. But for seniors, it might be quietly working against your legs. Let's talk about watermelon. Let's move on to a fruit that feels like the definition of summer. It's light, watery, and often thought of as the perfect way to stay hydrated. That fruit is watermelon. Watermelon is known for being low in calories and high in water content. It's refreshing, easy to eat, and seems like the ideal healthy choice. But here's the hidden truth. Watermelon might not be as gentle on your body as it appears, especially if you're over 60. You see, watermelon has a very high glycemic index. That means it causes your blood sugar to spike rapidly, almost as fast as eating candy. And for seniors, those sugar spikes aren't just short-term issues. They have long-term consequences. When blood sugar jumps too high too quickly, the body releases insulin. But aging bodies don't manage insulin the way they used to. The regulation becomes slower, less effective, and more prone to imbalance. As a result, inflammation starts to build, particularly in areas where circulation is already weak, like your legs, ankles, and knees. You might feel leg fatigue after eating. Or you take a short walk and notice dull aching in your calves. Maybe your ankles swell or climbing stairs suddenly feels like a workout. And here's what makes it tricky. Watermelon feels so light and harmless, most people eat far more of it than they realize. You start with 1 slice, then go for a second, maybe a third. It's juicy and sweet, and it doesn't feel like you're eating a heavy food, but your body reacts very differently. That large sugar load adds stress to your circulation and increases inflammation, 2 things your legs don't need more of. Over time, this can lead to slower movement, less stability, and more discomfort. You may not trace it back to watermelon at first, but the connection is real. And that's the deceptive part. You think you're doing your body a favor by eating something hydrating, But what's really happening is your blood sugar is swinging, your circulation is struggling, and your legs are quietly paying the price. So if you've been eating watermelon regularly and noticing more leg fatigue, swelling, or pain, it might be worth looking closer at this so-called healthy habit. The truth is, not everything that's natural is good for every age. And when it comes to fruits like watermelon, what's refreshing to the taste may be burdensome to the body, especially when you're dealing with aging joints and slower circulation. Next, we'll take a look at a fruit that's famous for boosting immunity and packing a punch of vitamin C. It's a breakfast staple and a regular part of many healthy routines, but it may also be quietly irritating your joints. Let's talk about oranges. Now let's turn to a fruit that nearly everyone associates with health. It's bright, fragrant, and shows up in everything from breakfast plates to immunity-boosting drinks. That fruit is the orange. Oranges are best known for being packed with vitamin C. They've long been seen as a symbol of wellness, fighting colds, boosting energy, and keeping you strong. But for older adults, the story isn't quite that simple. Behind their vibrant color and refreshing taste lies something that could be silently working against your joints: acid. Oranges are rich in citric acid, and while that might not be a problem when you're younger, it can become an issue as you age, especially if you already experience joint discomfort, stiffness, or inflammation. You may start to notice more stiffness in your knees when you get up in the morning. Maybe your hips feel sore after sitting too long, or you find your legs ache during normal daily movement, even though you haven't done anything out of the ordinary. These symptoms are often dismissed as just getting older. But what if part of the problem is what you're putting in your body? For people over 60, the acid in oranges can be irritating. It doesn't just affect your stomach. It gets into your bloodstream, and over time, it can aggravate the sensitive tissues in your joints. That inflammation may not feel intense right away, but it adds up, slowly making every step a little heavier, every movement a little more uncomfortable. And there's more. Oranges also contain natural sugars. When combined with citric acid, those sugars can cause blood sugar fluctuations. And as we've already seen, unstable blood sugar contributes to chronic inflammation, especially in the legs, knees, and ankles. So while orange juice might feel like a healthy way to start your day, it could actually be feeding the very symptoms you're trying to prevent. This doesn't mean you have to stop eating oranges completely. But if you're dealing with persistent leg or joint discomfort, it's worth thinking twice about how often you include them in your meals, especially in juice form, where the sugar and acid hit your system quickly. The truth is, oranges may not harm a younger body, but for seniors, whose joints are more sensitive and circulation is slower, the effect can build over time in ways you don't immediately notice. Let's move on to a fruit that seems like the safer option. It's tart, green, and often viewed as a lower sugar alternative, but it carries its own hidden risk. Let's talk about green apples. Let's talk about a fruit that's often seen as the safe choice. It's crisp, clean, and not as sweet as the others. Many older adults believe it's the healthier option, especially when trying to avoid sugar. That fruit is the green apple. At first glance, green apples seem like a smart choice. They're low in calories, less sugary than red apples, and often eaten as a quick, natural snack. But there's something most people don't realize. Green apples can cause hidden discomfort, especially in aging bodies. The issue starts with something called malic acid. It's what gives green apples their tart, sour taste. And while malic acid may not be a problem for younger people, it can become irritating to older adults, especially those with sensitive digestion or existing joint issues. As we age, the lining of our digestive system becomes more delicate, and when we consume foods high in acid, it can lead to irritation, not just in the stomach, but also in the joints. Some seniors report feeling an odd heat in their feet or tightness in their knees after eating green apples. Others experience lingering pain in the hips or thighs. These sensations often come on gradually and don't feel severe at first, But over time, the discomfort becomes more frequent. And that's just from the acid. Even though green apples don't taste very sweet, they still contain natural sugars. And for people with slower metabolisms, even small amounts of sugar can trigger blood sugar fluctuations. That means more inflammation, more stiffness, more fatigue in the legs. You might notice cramps in your calves at night. Or maybe your legs feel weak when climbing stairs, even though you're not doing anything differently. What makes this more complicated is that green apples are often eaten raw, on their own, or before bed as a light snack. That means the acids and sugars hit your system directly without anything to slow them down. So while green apples appear clean and healthy on the outside, they might be quietly making it harder for you to move comfortably, especially if you've been eating them regularly. If you've been dealing with unexplained stiffness, joint pain, or leg fatigue, it might be time to rethink this habit. The fruit that seems the most innocent could be contributing to the symptoms you've been trying to manage. And if a simple apple can do that, what about a fruit that's even sweeter, softer, and richer? Up next is a fruit that tastes like dessert. It's juicy, tropical, and loved by almost everyone. But for seniors, it could be the most harmful of all. Let's talk about mango. Now let's talk about a fruit that almost feels like dessert. It's soft, juicy, and bursting with flavor. It's especially popular in the summertime and loved by people of all ages. That fruit is mango. On the surface, mango seems like a natural, healthy treat. It's packed with vitamins and feels lighter than most processed sweets. But beneath that tropical sweetness lies something that can be especially problematic for older adults. Mango is what we call a sugar bomb. It doesn't just contain a little sugar, it delivers a big concentrated dose of natural sugar all at once, and that sugar hits your system fast, causing a sharp spike in blood glucose levels. Now, in a younger person with a fast metabolism and active lifestyle, the body can usually handle that spike. But for someone over 60, it's a very different story. When your blood sugar rises quickly, your body releases insulin in response. But with age, insulin sensitivity tends to drop. So instead of balancing things out smoothly, your body struggles. The result? A crash. And with every spike and crash, inflammation builds, especially in your joints. The soft tissues around your ankles, hips, and knees become more sensitive. You may begin to feel burning in your toes, tingling sensations in your feet, or swelling that seems to creep in more often, especially in the evenings. Mango may taste light and fresh, but that sweetness can hide a long-term effect. Increased pain, slower walking, and less stability in your legs. And because it tastes so pleasant, it's easy to eat too much. One slice becomes several. A small serving becomes a bowl. But your body doesn't measure mango in spoonfuls. It measures it in sugar load, and the impact can be surprisingly strong. The worst part is how slowly it happens. You don't feel the damage right away. It builds over time. You start to feel sluggish. Your knees ache more often. Stairs become harder to climb. And it's easy to miss the connection between those symptoms and the fruit you thought was helping. That's the truth about mango. It's natural, but that doesn't mean it's safe for everyone, especially not for aging joints and slower circulation. If you've been enjoying mango regularly and noticing more joint discomfort or leg heaviness, it might be time to cut back. Even small changes in your fruit choices can lead to big differences in how you feel. Now that we've gone through all 7 of the most problematic fruits for people over 60, let's shift the focus. Because there are fruits out there that do the opposite. They support your joints, ease inflammation, and help you move more freely. Let's talk about those next. Now that we've uncovered the 7 fruits that could be quietly working against your legs, let's talk about the good news. Because not all fruits are harmful. In fact, some can actually do the opposite. They can support your joints, improve circulation, and help reduce pain and inflammation. Let's start with one of the most powerful categories: berries. Blackberries, raspberries, blueberries. These small, colorful fruits pack a serious punch when it comes to fighting inflammation. They're low in sugar, high in antioxidants, and gentle on blood sugar levels. For older adults, that means they don't cause the blood sugar spikes that lead to joint pain or swelling. Instead, they help improve blood flow, especially in your legs, making walking and standing feel more comfortable. If you're looking for something sweet that actually supports your body, berries are a smart, safe choice. Next, let's talk about cherries. While they should be eaten in moderation, cherries contain compounds that can lower uric acid levels, one of the main causes of joint pain and gout. That means cherries can help soothe sore joints and reduce that burning or aching feeling in your knees, toes, or hips. Just a small handful, not a big bowl, is enough to make a noticeable difference over time. Then there's avocado. Yes, it's technically a fruit, and it's one of the best foods you can eat for joint health. Avocados are rich in healthy fats that cushion your joints, reduce internal inflammation, and help your body absorb other nutrients more efficiently. Plus, they're gentle on your blood sugar and provide steady energy without sudden crashes. If you want to feel more stable on your feet, avocado is a fantastic addition to your diet. Another excellent option? Papaya. This soft, tropical fruit is easy to digest and contains natural enzymes that calm inflammation and support gut health. For people with aging joints or sensitive digestion, papaya can be a gentle healing choice. And don't forget about pears. Pears provide a mild, subtle sweetness without being too sugary. When paired with a little protein or fiber, they deliver steady energy without overloading your system. That makes them perfect for avoiding that heavy, sluggish feeling in your legs after eating. Each of these fruits supports your body in a very different way than the ones we discussed earlier. They don't spike your blood sugar. They don't trigger inflammation. They work with your aging body, not against it. And over time, small changes like choosing the right fruits can lead to big improvements: stronger legs, better balance, less swelling, and more freedom to move without pain. Remember, it's not about giving up fruit. It's about knowing which ones truly support your health at this stage in life. Up next, let's bring everything together and talk about what this all means for you, your future, and the simple daily choices that can transform the way you feel. If you've made it this far, one thing is clear: you care. You care about your health, you care about your strength, and you care about your future. And I want you to hear this clearly. It's not too late to make a change. You still have time, you still have control, and you are not alone in this journey. Aging isn't easy. The stiffness, the pain, the fear of falling. It can all creep in so slowly that one day you realize your body doesn't move like it used to. And that can be frustrating, even scary. But here's the truth. You don't need to make big, extreme changes to feel better. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. Sometimes, all it takes is one small adjustment at a time. One meal, one fruit swap, one smarter choice today than yesterday. The 7 fruits we talked about in this video aren't bad foods. They're not toxic or dangerous in themselves. But for people over 60, they might no longer be the best match for your body's needs. And that's okay. Because aging doesn't mean giving up. It means adapting, becoming more aware, choosing what serves you best right now. And when you start making those choices, when you eat with purpose and with your future in mind, you begin to feel the difference. Your steps become lighter, your joints feel looser, your mornings become smoother, your confidence starts to return. That's the real goal, not fear, not restriction, but freedom. Freedom to move without pain, freedom to stay independent, freedom to feel like yourself again. So now I'd love to hear from you. What did you learn today? What changes are you ready to make in your daily habits? Let us know in the comments below. We grow stronger when we share. And if this video helped you, even just a little, please take a moment to like it. It tells us we're on the right track, and it helps others find this information too. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. We'll continue sharing real, honest health advice that's designed for you. Not for trends, not for clicks, but for real people living real lives. If you found this helpful, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 point. Either way, your voice matters. Stay strong, stay informed, and never forget, your legs don't just carry your body, they carry your independence.